Hi, this is Maria Quattrone, and this is Be the Solution podcast. And today I welcome my guest, Alex Lopez, founder of Homeway Real Estate and CEO of New Door Property Transfer. Welcome, Alex.
Hey Maria, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic. It's great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Excited to be on here.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's get right into it. So, Alex, how did you get into the industry?
I got in the industry in 2016. I started as a leasing agent for a large investor that owns a leasing company here locally in Eastern Pennsylvania, and then transitioned over into the buyer side of things and started working and managing a buyer team. Did a ton of transactions my first year from like February to November. Did like 87 transactions, and then went off and started my own brokerage.
So that was like a lot. You did a lot really quickly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's only 6 years you're in the industry.
Hmm.
So very, very impressive.
Thank you.
What had to happen for that to happen? Like,
A lot of work, a lot of work, especially when I was there. So I um I would spend every single day at the office. Like it did not matter. And I lived an hour away from the office. So I'd wake up early. I'd drop my daughter off for my mom to watch her. My sister-in-law be at the office by 8 a.m. Leave at 7 p.m. Pick her up over and over every single day. I'd be there. I became really good friends with the head accountant there because he was the only guy who was ever there on Sundays. Him and like the janitor. So it just was work. It was dedication. It was consistency.
work works.
Yeah,
That's like my number one saying. Work works.
yeah,
So
yeah. It really does.
87 homes. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy amount. And you decided when to start your real estate firm.
At the end of 2017, filed all the paperwork, and then for the beginning of January, we were open. So January 2nd was our official first day open for business at Homeway.
So 2018.
2018. Yep.
So we're 4 years in, not quite 4 years because we're in the fourth year. So 3.5 years in, right?
Yep. We're
And
yeah, we're in the fourth year. Yep.
so what makes Homeway Real Estate different than the other brokerages out there?
I think a lot of what we do different is we don't necessarily like cater to every single agent. Like we don't take everybody on who just has a pulse. We have a very niche type of agent that we bring on, and we love bringing on newer agents, training them, setting them up for success, because we provide everything from start to finish as far as your leads that come in or nurture for you from an ISA, right, which a lot of teams do. And then what we really get different is we have what we call a concierge team. Most people just call them transaction coordinators, but we take care of paperwork A through Z. So our agents do zero paperwork, right? So when they go out and they show a home and they're ready to submit an offer, they can submit a form on their phone, and then the form gets sent to our concierge team. The concierge team will type up all of the contract, all the documents that are required for that particular thing. The agent reviews it and then sends it off to the client for signature. And then any addendums that are needed throughout the transactions, amendments, anything at all of the paperwork is done by the concierge team. Our agents have to do zero paperwork.
Well, that's pretty fantastic because what great salesperson loves paperwork?
None of them. So that's exactly why I did it. It was a bit selfish because I did it because I hated to do the paperwork, right? So it was like even teams that have the ISAs, provide leads, do all of that, a lot of their agents, or pretty much all of them, their agents still write up their own contracts and still do some of their own paperwork, even though they have transaction coordinators. We wanted to change that and streamline it as smooth as possible for all of our agents. So they are educated in the contract. They do go through 2 weeks of onboarding when they first come on board, but they're not required to do any of the documentation. So we write up paperwork from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day.
So they go on their phone, they fill out a form. Is that for listing contracts and buyers?
Both, if they're going to submit an offer, our 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 concierge team submits every single offer or types up every single offer, and then for listings also.
And for the listings as
Yep.
well.
both
So
sides.
they could be sitting with the client and they agree to list and they say 399, 400 is the price, 6%, 595 fee, blah blah blah, whatever it is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then voila,
We just
it'll be
give the
good.
information. Yeah, we give the information and keep everything digital. We don't have to sign the paperwork, like actual hard copies of the paperwork. We keep everything digital.
Is your concierge team VAs or
No, no, they're on staff.
they're on
W
staff
employees. Yep, they're
at the
W.
office or they work remote?
Remote. One of them comes in the office here or there, but remote mainly. Our ISAs are remote also, but they're on staff. They're W-2 employees.
As well.
Yep.
And so, how big is your team right now? Your company?
Right around 30 agents we are.
30 agents?
Yep.
Awesome.
We went up to like 40 something at one point, and then you know how it goes. You go up, you get an exodus of some agents. Some of them didn't work. Some of them leave. Some of them we want to leave because they just don't follow the system. And if you just follow the system, you'll make the money that you were looking to make when you first came into real estate.
Yeah, and you do things a little bit differently. It's a lot of buyers in your system. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, we're really heavy on the buyer side because it was the easiest way to get the company going. We're now transitioning and working a lot of listings as I we opened up a property management company and we're getting a lot of off market deals from investors and things like that. They want to turn some of their inventory. So we are focusing more on the listing side, but we're still very heavy on the buyer side of things.
Okay. You're heavy on the buy side. And one of the things I know that when you're working with the clients, you have a different process. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as so when let's say if we work with a buyer, we'll do a buyer presentation whether it's at the office, virtually, or in a home, right? So we have three different types of appointments that we can run. But we will go through and we have an entire very detailed buyer presentation where we'll go through and explain to them exactly what's going on the market, how we can help direct them with their finances, whether they're using a bank that we recommend or whether they're using their own bank. We'll look over all the finances for them because we train our agents on understanding the financial side of things when it comes to real estate. Because if you don't have money, you don't have a transaction, right? So it always surprises me how many agents know nothing about mortgages. So that it's a unique thing that we do train them on. And because we're more experienced on that side of things, we do have an elevated level of commission that we charge to our consumers. It is all upfront. We let them know, hey, this is the process. This is exactly how we work. This is how our team operates, and to become one of our clients, this is the compensation that we require. So let's say the compensation is a 4% commission. We get 3% from the seller. Then an extra percent is owed from your closing, or if it's a 5%, then you owe an extra 2%. Whatever it is, we give our agents the flexibility to charge where they're at. Some of them that are newer don't feel as comfortable because they don't have as much experience. And then some of the experienced ones are like, hey, if I'm working with you, I know I'm going to be able to do a good job. It's 5% to work with me. That's what I'm worth. So we give them the option to charge what they feel they're worth, because not every agent is the same in the marketplace. If we're specialists at something and we're really really good at it, why should we take on the same charge or the same commission as someone who just started 3 months ago and has no clue what they're doing? They don't have an infrastructure. They don't have a team backing them. It doesn't make any sense to us.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So your training and onboarding for your new people is a 2-week process?
Yeah, it's 1 week in the office, and then the second week is with whoever your leader will be. So we have different offices because we cover a wider area. So every single office has a leader that they need to work that works with that particular office and kind of helps us the agents there if they have any questions. They're more experienced, right? So then you'll work with that second week with whoever your leader is. You'll come in once a day for an hour or something. You'll get some homework, you watch some videos, take a test, that kind of thing. And then at the end, you have to kind of graduate like a certification almost, where we want to make sure that you weren't just sitting there kind of daydreaming, right? Like Charlie Brown, you actually understood everything that we were going through. So there's an actual test and certification at the end for you to, I guess, graduate and then go on to lead rotation.
So that you want to get them up within leave rotation in about 2 weeks time.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks time. Yep.
Awesome. So within like 30 days, somebody could be earning income with your company.
Yeah, depending on how quickly they move and how bad they want it.
Well, it always comes down to how bad do you want it. Somebody
Yeah.
asked me that about something. How bad do you want to go? As bad as I want to breathe.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really what it comes down to is not everybody has the same desire level, right? Everybody wants to be successful, but at what level? What are you willing to give up to have that level of success, right? Like I've given up a lot to build the title company that I'm building up because I want to have that level of success. So
So let's
it's
talk
just
about that. What does that mean to you? What had to happen, Alex, for that to happen?
for the title part of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to step away. So the real estate side of things, I had at a point where it was really profitable, right? And I was coaching with John and building it up and getting recruiter on board and all this other stuff. And then I saw that there was a need for individuals like myself, like yourself, right, that have these teams and are sending business to a title company, but they're not earning anything off that ancillary service. And a lot of teams, rightfully so, want to get a mortgage company going through a solution like Model Mortgage or any other solution that's out there, and rightfully so because you should be earning dollars on mortgage, especially if you're controlling that part of it. But a lot of people aren't looking at the title side of things. They don't understand it. They don't know how you can actually make money. And after going through two joint venture transitions, I figured out how to properly do it, how to get the right pieces in place, and how to help other team leaders and other real estate entrepreneurs be able to capture that income from the title business in a true and transparent way. And the reason why it was difficult was because it was transitioning from running a real estate team to a whole nother industry. Even though it's connected, it's a whole different ball game when you go into the title business. But I wanted to give a solution that was transparent and they could understand how they're going to make money and the opportunity that's in front of them.
What kind of opportunity is in front of these team leaders and brokerages with the ancillary service of title?
Sure. So what we provide is a turnkey solution that essentially we will partner up with you, do a title partnership in your local area if you have enough transactions that to make sense. And it doesn't have to be a high level of transactions. Somebody in Pennsylvania might be 10 transactions a month. One of our partners in Florida might need to be 15 transactions a month. It just depends the area that you're in. But the opportunity is huge. You can make an extra 6+ figures a year doing the same thing you're doing right now by adding a title company to your business, and you don't have to do any of the extra legwork. We take care of the hiring, firing, onboarding, relationships with underwriters, negotiating commission splits with underwriters, any of the rest of compliance stuff. So we have a system A through Z that we can help onboard someone who has a team and get them making revenue off title pretty quickly.
That's that's amazing. How did you decide to do this and bring? Because you could have just done it for yourself. What made you decide to bring it to other organizations?
It's that entrepreneurial spirit, right? So it's not just about me. It was me seeing that there's a need that's missing in the marketplace, and even seeing some teams, and especially with coaching with John, seeing some really large teams, and some of them don't have title in place, and then even speaking with some of them, and I've since helped some really large teams kind of negotiate their deals, whether they were partnering with us or not. It's like, man, people that are even doing 1,000+ transactions a month don't really understand the title business and don't really understand how it works and what you can make money on. And I just saw that as an opportunity to be able to bring a different solution, right, to the table, especially because I understand the real estate side of things. If you partner with most people will do a JV with a local title company, right? One, they don't really want you in the title space, but they're going to do it because they don't want to lose all of your business. And two, they don't understand the real estate side of it. They don't understand that, like, hey, this seller is going through this pain point or this buyer is going through this pain point, and you are the one that needs to provide that solution. They look at it as just like work that you're just clicking away at the keys and doing this paperwork. And it happens, and I understand it because even sometimes on my team, I have to refocus them and say, no, that's not what we're doing because that doesn't make sense in the real estate process. Like we need to cater to the consumer on the real estate side of things to make sure that they're comfortable with what's going on.
So, what do you think there? What do you think there's a disconnect?
I think it's not something that most people have ever focused on. And I think there's a misconception out there where a lot of people think that they can't own a title company. And I think that's the biggest hurdle so far that people need to change that mindset is that you can own a title company. You don't need any kind of special license or anything like that to own the title company. We can set it up in a way that it's compliant and you can generate profits from it legally without you having to be scared over looking at your shoulder for RESPA or anything like that. So I think it's the unknowing of being able to actually open it, the unknowing of how it operates, and being scared of that, and the fear of like you need a lot of liquidity to be able to do it. Because in certain instances you might need that, but that's where we come in, where we have that solution put together and say we have the experience, we have the tools, we have the system. Let's plug you in and get you going.
So, how many partnerships do you have now?
Right now, we are at 8 and have a couple more in the pipeline that will be opening up. So we're in Pennsylvania and Florida. We'll be going to Texas pretty soon, and we have an affiliate program that we're doing right now for non-real. Unfortunately, you have to be non-real estate related, just the way kind of RESPA works, with some marketing companies that are going to be driving a lot more partnerships for us. So our goal over the next 3 years is to get to 200 total partnerships.
Wow.
Yeah, we want to be the
That's
largest title network in the country.
wow. That's
And it's
aggressive.
possible. It's absolutely possible. Thanks. We were at 13, but through learning, right, and through understanding the model, and sometimes, and I'm in real estate, so I feel comfortable saying this. Sometimes in real estate, we promise things that we can't do, right? So we say, hey, we're gonna get we can do 15 transactions a month, and then you get 3, and it's like, hey, this isn't profitable. It doesn't make any sense for us to do it, right? So we've learned a lot on our end to dial that in, but that's part of any startup, right? You can have a
Yes.
ramp up period. You're going to go back down, and then you dial in your systems and you start to grow the right way. And that's where we're at right now, where we have our systems dialed in, and now we're ready to grow the right way. But we proved the model, and we proved that it's a need out there, for a lot of individuals that are running successful teams, selling hundreds of homes, if not thousands of homes a year, and don't have a title company.
Yeah. So, what would you say would be your avatar for this program?
Our avatar is definitely a team leader, someone who controls the transactions, because we're not looking to go out there and build standalone title companies and say, hey, let's hire a sales rep, go make a relationship with agents. We want someone who's like, hey, you're already doing 400 transactions a year. Let me show you how you can maximize dollars on those transactions and plug you into title. That's our exact avatar that we're looking for. We're looking for those team leaders, not even so much brokers that own independent offices. We're looking more for teams that are looking to plug in something else that they can generate revenue off of.
And what should their minimum transaction count be to do that?
It all depends where they're at and what their average sale price is, but at very minimum, no matter which market you're at, it's not going to be any less than 10. Like, you're going to need at least 10 transactions a month to be able to make that happen.
10 buy sides.
Depending where you're at, some areas in Florida, the seller or the buyer gets to choose. Some areas only the seller gets to choose. Some areas the buyer gets to choose. It all depends what state you're at. When we go into Texas, it'll be different. We're going into Virginia soon, also that'll be different. So it just depends on the. We look at capture, right? So how many transactions can you capture, whether it's seller or buyer, in your area that picks it.
So you have 203 years. So you need to create another team, a whole another team to get
Yeah,
this off the ground. Well, it's
yeah,
off the
yeah.
ground, but get it to the next level.
Yeah, we have a very solid team now. We have investors that came on board, that also have other resources that are going to be helping us scale this. But we have a very solid team. Our head of title operations now, she's been in the industry since 1999, in all different types, from new builders, went through the ups, went through the downs, owned other companies, merged with other companies, helped get other startups off the ground. So we have a vast experience in the team that we have put together now. We feel very, very comfortable to go at scale and grow this thing pretty quickly. We don't want to grow too quick at the point, because there's only so much bandwidth you can have as far as humans, right? And anybody who's an employer now and hiring people, knows how hard it is to try and get good quality individuals through the door at the moment, which is a challenge every single day.
No doubt. So, Alex, you're doing a lot of great things. But what challenges did you have to personally overcome to be able to be where you are right now?
I think a lot of them, but I think the main one is that confidence, right? Like the getting that self doubt out of your head, right? That like imposter syndrome out of your head, and say like I'm good enough to be in this room and talk to these individuals and present this opportunity to them, and there's nothing that can really stop me from doing that, right? Like I have the abilities to be able to do that. So I think working within yourself and building your own confidence is something that people don't focus on as much, but I think it's very very integral if you're going to be successful.
What are some ways that folks can do that?
I think I think having deep conversations with people that you think are in a higher spot than you. Put yourself in a circle where you feel like you're the low man on the totem pole and start having deep conversations with them. And you'll find out to see that a lot of these individuals are going through the same challenges that you are, and you can provide value to them just like they can provide value to you. Your mindset will start to shift. So if you start working on shifting your mind by having conversations with individuals that are successful, you'll start to build confidence within yourself.
Sometimes we go days and days and weeks and sometimes months
Yeah,
where we're like, okay,
yeah, yeah.
I'm still doing it and it's not working yet.
Yeah, exactly. And consistency in your routines, whatever that might be. Like I know a lot of people that love to work out 5 a.m. I can't do that. I like to work out at nighttime, right? So whatever your routine that works for you, like stick to that and be focused on what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
100%.
Mhm.
I did a commitment to not have sugar for the month of March,
Yeah,
and I'm still going.
yeah,
And that commitment turned into other commitments
yep,
and turned into clearer thoughts
yep,
and moving faster and developing ideas, right? So, okay, I think there's something a little bit in suffering
yeah,
that you can take, and then it provides you the ability to mentally become stronger. So when
mhm,
something else comes at you,
yep.
you can handle the hit. And I'm not saying physically hit, but mentally.
No, absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of beauty in failure, right? Like, don't don't look at it as all being negative. There's so many beautiful things that you could take out of you failing at something, that you can use that to catapult you moving forward. And to your point, when you're like, hey, I'm not doing sugar, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. Don't underestimate momentum. Like momentum is a huge thing. And if you just start with one thing, just let it compound over and over, you're going to be able to achieve more than what you expect you can achieve.
Exactly. That's one of the things that we teach in our 2 week onboarding class, Rise in Real Estate Academy, is the compound effect.
Yep.
And that book, by giving
My
that to
favorite book.
it's a great book,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Easy read, 7 chapters, 1 chapter a night. So
Yep.
by day 9, the book's done. And now they understand the value of learning the scripts, learning the information, doing the work every single day, the consistency and the value over time of what that looks like.
Yep.
So I'll say in the podcast, I draw a line on a piece of paper, draw another line next to it, another line, another line, another line, another line, right? Draw 30 lines right next to each other. Look how far you've come
Yep.
in a month, in 6 months, in a year.
That's a great way to put it. It's a simple thing for people to understand.
It's a simple thing for people to understand exactly. And we don't. You got to. Everybody's at somewhere else, right? People always say meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Okay, well, everybody's going to run their own race.
Yep.
right? So we can't. I say comparison the is the thief of joy. Comparing yourself to others is the thief of joy. But if you watch others that are doing more than you and you take a borrowed belief from them because they were somewhere where you are right now, that
Yep.
you don't just go from 0 to 1,100 transactions.
No.
You go from 0 to maybe 100, maybe
Mhm.
200, then maybe to 400, then to 700, then to 1,100. That's
Yeah.
kind of the way it happens, right?
Yeah. And you might
So
hit the wall and say, I'm at 300 and then 300. And it's like, oh shit, what do I need to do to up the ante and then go to 400 and 500? So it takes time.
it takes time. It also takes the consistency and it takes tweaking, like, okay, where are we at now? What do we need to do? And usually, what we need to do is to have more humans in our circle, in our
Yep.
inner circle, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
know how you can grow transactions without people.
You can't. You
So
can't grow anything without
I
people.
was stuck in that same thing for years, small and tight, small and tight,
Yeah.
and I made a commitment that that's over, no more. So now there's a new learning curve, right? And there's a new cadence to it, and it kind of set us back a little bit because it's not the Maria show. Our number one core value at our company, MQA, is to be the solution. And
Yeah.
it's the company, it's the people all in the company being the solution,
Yep.
right? So we go back and we say, okay, what do I need now to overcome to go further?
Yeah. And for people that are listening and are afraid of that is it doesn't matter if you're the one that's no longer like actually, punching in, punching out, doing the transactions. You still can have your overall feel. Like you said, one of your core values be the solution. For us is authenticity. It's a really, really big thing for me that everyone in the company knows to be authentic because that's the only way that I like to be. Right? Like if I'm into something, I'm into it. If I'm not, I'm not, and you're gonna know it. Right? So it's like be yourself. So everything that you have in your company and you're talking about be the solution, that comes from you, right? You're always looking for a way to be the solution. And then that translates to the rest of your company. So I think a lot of people have a fear of letting go. But if you let go the right way, you can still have that influence and that culture that comes across your organization.
100%. So what? Trust equals capacity.
Yep.
The more you can trust, the more capacity an organization has.
Yep.
Otherwise, sometimes leadership could strangle the capacity by being
Yeah.
being over, I would say overbearing, but being too in the weeds. Sometimes leaders, sometimes the owner has to get out of the weeds so that people can learn to fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for instance, for me, I was never the broker of the office. I own the office, but I was never the broker because I'm not built for that. Somebody else is better for that task and that job than I am. Right. And understand like what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and be okay with handing those things off.
100%. It's hard for people to do. I can understand why, because they built it, and I
Like
think
your baby.
it's your
Yeah.
baby. But I think that it's grown up. How about that? Grown up to accept that there are people out there that they can do this better, good at,
Yep.
right? What are you really good at, Alex?
Being the visionary, that's my thing. Like that's what I'm good at. Seeing the road that we need to take in order to get there and putting together those systems and the people that need to happen. And one of the things that I've come to on my own, especially now, after going through this title process and having to go through some of the leadership that I had and letting some people go, is understanding that it's okay to move on from certain people. And I think some people that I've seen in certain organizations are locked by the individuals who started with them day one. but they're restricting the growth of the organization because that particular individual is not the person that you need to be growing with, right? So I think one of my superpowers now as a visionary is being able to not only see the road that we need to take for the company to succeed, but also to see the individuals that we need to take with us and those that we need to leave behind for the company to succeed.
And sometimes it's us.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's removing yourself and saying like, "You guys got this. I'll be over here doing this other stuff."
I
Yeah.
think it's important. I also think something you said about being the visionary. If the visionary can't be the visionary because the visionary is working in the day to day,
Mhm.
it stifles the growth of the organization. And
Yeah.
it's actually like stealing, I don't say money, but resources because there's limited amount of resources, right?
And you're hurting your organization because they want that and they need that from you. They came there to work with you, right? And they came there to and they stay there because they believe in what you're trying to do. And I have so many people in my organization that are champions of this company more than I am, right? Like they eat, breathe, and sleep it. They plan potlucks. They talk about picnics. They want to see this whole company grow, right? And like that's not what I do, but they're here because they need my leadership. They're here because they need my vision to go in a certain direction, and they are okay doing the work. And I think sometimes as visionaries, what we miss is that we think that everybody wants to be like what we are. We think that everybody wants to come up with the ideas and think of the game plan moving forward. And the truth is that some people are completely fine just being the worker, just doing the work. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And when you realize that of your individuals that are working for you, you'll bring the best out of them because they want the leadership because it's not something they have within themselves.
Truth. It's it's also very true.
Yeah.
So it is going back and saying, who do I need to become to live the life that I want to live?
Yep. Absolutely.
And
And what am I willing to give up?
what am I willing to give up?
Yeah.
Right? There's a trade off.
Yeah.
So what am
Like
I willing to give up?
I don't own any gaming systems. I have one TV in my house right now. And even when I lived in my other house before I got a divorce, I had a bunch of TVs, movie theater screen, all that stuff, and it was like occasional with my kids. If it wasn't with my kids, it wasn't. I wasn't just sitting there watching TV. It's like you gotta give something up to get something, and what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up the show to learn something, right? To read a book, the compound effect, whatever it might be. Are you willing to give that up to move yourself forward? Are you willing to give that up to game plan and strategize on your company and the things that you need to do? So it's a lot of give and take, and just realize that within yourself. I think being authentic and being true to yourself is one of the greatest things that I've had in my life because it's built a lot of resiliency. And as an entrepreneur, I don't have to tell you, you're going to fail a lot. You're going to hit a lot of roadblocks. You're going to hit a lot of schemes that in your mind was like, this is perfect. I cracked the code. And then it's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. This shit did not work at all. So you need that resiliency within yourself. So the more that you work on yourself, the more confidence you get, the more resiliency that you'll build because you're gonna hit those roadblocks and you're gonna need to get back up and keep going forward.
100%.
Yep.
Couldn't have said it better. Before we wrap up, Alex, are there any podcasts that you listen to or books that you would recommend that you just love and you're like, you have to have read this book?
Well, my favorite book is definitely The Compound Effect. I love this book. It's a quick read. It's called The Energy Bus, just because it
Yeah.
gets people understanding like your energy and how you speak to yourself and the way that you go about your own day is so important. So make sure that you keep your energy in line and do the things that you need to do for yourself. So there's
It
a couple.
is protecting your energy should be like everybody's number one thing.
Yeah, yeah, and we spoke about it before getting on here about your energy. I did read Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, which was a really good book. I like that
Mm.
one. And I will say one thing, a piece of advice that's helped me a lot, and you know that I coach with Ryan in Apex. One of the things that's helped me a lot is getting out of my own industry. and networking with individuals that are not in your industry. You get to see the pitfalls of what other people do, but you also get to see the brilliant things and processes that they do that you could implement in your own business. So when you start to get under around individuals that are not in your industry, because you're going to hear the same thing over and over and over and over again with different wording, but it comes down to the same thing in your industry. When you step outside of your comfort zone and step outside of the realm of what you already know, you're going to pick up a lot of things that can help you move forward.
Mm, that's great advice, Alex. Thank you so much for contributing your time today to be on the Be the Solution podcast. I
Absolutely.
wish you the best in all your future endeavors and the success of the title company of New Door Property. So, congratulations.
Yep. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate you.